So let me bust the myth over here to anyone who's looking to get into consulting. Gone are those days when you used to just run some analysis, do a current state, and give them this is your approach, this is the roadmap, be done, get paid, and move out. Now the clients are more demanding.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Echoes After EOD. His name is Vinayak Sharma. He is a manager at PWC and he specializes in operations, cost optimization, and financial advisory. He is a seasoned consultant. He has more than 5 years of experience in the management consulting domain. This guest would definitely help us add value to those and super excited to talk to him. Welcome, Vinayak.
Glad to be part of this.
So when I entered the industry, I realized that there are multiple short-term projects which we have to do. And every project has a new concept to it. There can be a new category, a new working team, etc. How do you ramp up on new topics and also address these expectations of being perfect every time when you are thrown a new challenge?
MBA taught me personally is that you don't even have to study for the exam. You can go and give the exam right there, and you'll do wonders because that's all your thought process has been conditioned in that. So, taking from that experience and moving into consulting, of course, when you're setting up these projects, the first initial 2 or 3 days, when you don't have like a concept of, okay, what industry am I talking about? What exactly is the problem statement? The best thing to do is first read the statement of work that has been issued and signed between the client and your overall team so that you don't go overboard in terms of thinking whether what's in scope versus what's out of scope. That because that's very crucial at the end because client will come with their random demands. Second thing is also getting bigger pictures. Before you actually do that, it's very important that you understand what exactly I'm trying to achieve or solve for the client. The client wants to do some cost control and cost optimization, right? But what's the end goal? What they are trying to use that money for? Where are they lacking somewhere, or is there some loss that they're running into? If I just start running some Excel data that I receive and start slicing and dicing without any context, will I be able to generate some insights for them? No. So that's one very important thing for you to kind of understand the bigger picture so that you can now plan out your time and work with the team that might take you in the long run and help you kind of ease down the project role that you're getting into.
Makes sense. So basically, not
Yeah.
being very transactional with the work, but also looking at the larger picture and what exactly is the end goal of the engagement. But I have a counter question to that. You are expected to do like one thing, probably A to B, you are expected to do. And you as a consultant try to go over and above that as well, just to show that you are at the next level, perhaps. How does a consultant manage between these two things, like going a level beyond and delivering what it is expected at the best possible output?
I think very simple fund out. Always under promise and over deliver rather than over promise and under deliver. So that's the first thing that you need to really focus on. Don't get into the guns of like, oh, I have the strategic understanding of the project now. I'll go into that other work stream and probably lend my support. Never promise those things. Once you start delivering your work in a quality way, now you can pitch in, okay, this is an additional way of looking things that I think might help. So that's where you kind of start developing a good relationship and a brand recall within your and at the same time, just check your time, man. It's okay. It's okay to say no rather than just slogging yourself crazy. Because the more you do, the more the work will be piled on, and you'll end up being like super frustrated all the time, and it might just lose the quality of work that you're delivering on your regular work.
Got it. Thanks, Vinayak. And I think I'm still learning that. But the thing is that normally, even if you see that how the recruitment happens with consulting firms, so they tend to hire the overachievers in their lives. So these people have been really good in their academics. They have been slogging their way through their academics as well. And this is something which has organically become a mindset into their own living life. It is not only about the firm.
Mhm.
So when they go into the consulting firm, they go with the same mindset कि यार अब तो फोड़ देंगे मतलब whatever work we will get, we will do the best which we can. But sometimes you have to realize that it is not that what effort you give, that will be the exact reward out of it, but it is a process. And you will have to learn through the things and then also let the system play its role within where you finally end up. So I think patience is also one key, apart from the efforts which you are putting in.
You're right, absolutely. And patience is, of course, like the best thing is you need to be a very good listener rather than jumping to solutioning part. How well you have understood the problem and what approach are you suggesting? That's what is being evaluated. And that's what people look out for in individuals that they are getting into this profession. The second most important thing that I've realized, deliverable orientation about the work that they're doing. So tomorrow, let's say you get a task, your mind automatically starts thinking, okay, the best way is to either I just run the analysis and create some slides out of it by the end of the day, which I can probably send out to the client. That's the medium that they will grasp really well. Or I create like a working model, give setup, lay out a set of instructions, and maybe I can create a dashboard that would be real time monitoring for them. So that's the thought process you
Yeah.
give into what's the medium of the deliverable in which the client or like the end user is going to be comfortable with.
Definitely. So there is one point which people normally think about consulting, that it is not implementation oriented, but rather it's mostly about the glossy part of things rather than having something very technical or implementation oriented, which is there in the industry. How would you address these kind of comments on consulting, right? Like, do you think that it becomes superficial after one point? And in terms of skills, do you get the long lasting skills which is important for implementing something on ground, or just it is about the excels and ppts which you finally make in your career?
So let me bust the myth over here to anyone who's looking to get into consulting. Gone are those days when you used to just put across a strategy document or like run some analysis, do a current state, and give them this is your approach, this is the roadmap, and just be done, get paid, and move out. Now the clients are more demanding. Their thought is like, if I'm investing around $1 million in hiring you and giving me advice about it, and you are saying that, oh, with our idea, you'll generate like 10 million or 10x or 20x value for your organization. Help me realize that. I don't want you to just hand me over a piece of paper and let my team struggle after that. So that's a big change that has happened, at least since the time I have joined in. And the biggest piece is around digital transformation. There are tech and transformation related. You are supposed to not just be a generalist, you're also supposed to have some sort of specialization, like Alteryx, Power BI, Tableau, some basic analytics, big data analytics, and also visualization. Just get those things in order. You can work on Primavera P6. You can have an understanding of Microsoft Project for scheduling at the risk, Deltec Acumen. That's where your homework that you've done might come in handy.
And now on to the next question, Vinayak. As young consultants, right, we may not have that much of leverage to carve our initial years in consulting. Can become stereotyped into particular domains, right? So it can be that one consultant is getting different projects in different categories, different type of projects, while one consultant just gets it on a particular category, like say logistics. So what would you say to these two experiences in general? Which one is preferable? And we as consultants, how should we see this, and what action points can we do if we see our career navigating into either of those spaces?
When I say in a generalist profile, like when you are entering into the consulting industry, of course, the idea is to have all our entry level associates to be fungible. That
Mhm.
means we really want you to be deployed across engagements because your basic skills and the value add that you're bringing is high level analytics. Like you will be running those Excel analysis or maybe on Alteryx or something like that. The biggest notion that comes up is for that individual to be specialized in one particular area or in one particular domain or in one particular industry. In my opinion, 1 to 2 years you can be fungible and be a generalist, but the faster you decide to kind of specialize in your role and then take it to the next level, the better are your chances of being that one person in the organization whom people would reach out in case they ever stuck in a problem in that domain.
Fair to say that you can be jack of all trades, but you have to be master of something. Also, Vinayak, like we know that consulting is infamous for long working hours. When people imagine consulting, it's about the glamorous life, but lonely nights at the hotel, right? Where you are just with your laptop and just you're like working through it. What do you think about work-life balance, especially in light of the conversations which we're having in the country about 70 plus working hours, right? But where so many people have said that. Because it's not only about working a lot in the first 3 or 4 years, but you have to sustain it for the next 20, 30 years of your working life.
Yeah, when Mr. S.N. Subramaniam, he said those 90 hours a week, he was not wrong when he was saying these things. But
Hmm.
now coming to the consulting thing, there are two sides of things. One is you can be a front-end consultant. Front-end consultants, like people who are traveling to the client locations, yes, their life kind of is screwed up. You'll be on projects in different parts of the country. Like some, you can be sitting in Hoshiarpur now, or you can now be in one remote town of Jharkhand because there's a steel plant being set up there or something like that. That really takes a toll on individuals. I've seen people crumble under pressure and they have like their mental health being affected. Some people really enjoy this. They like traveling. They really like the fact that they are having their traveler bags and a Starbucks in hand, traveling on an airport, trying to catch a border flight, and then getting down, opening up their laptop in between. So that's the kick that they really get.
Hmm.
But for people who really want to evaluate their work-life balance, you really need to invest good amount of time at the start of a career. Like it's okay, you can stay late enough.
Hmm.
You can work like for once or twice in a week. Those are the times that you can actually extend yourself, but it's at the end of the day, you're not saving lives. You're
Yeah.
developing Excel. Like I have questioned myself at night after at 2:30 a.m. and I was like making the slides. Okay, this is the formatting. The box is not aligning. All those things. I was really questioning my life about that. Like, is it really that important in life right now? Then, like, if it goes out later to the client, hardly does not make a difference. But since you are in that mindset that
Right.
you have to be perfect, you have to deliver, you don't really need anyone reprimanding you about it, you
Hmm.
do it. Ultimately, if you're slogging yourself every day for 14 to 15 or 16 hours, that's really not sustainable in the long run. You really need to think of your career choices, and that's true.
Right.
It's okay.
And I think it should be as well. And that's a great answer. Thanks for that, Vinayak. But I think that it also depends on your personality type, right? So every person would have different priorities at different times
Yep.
of their life. It can be that some people really want to put 100% right now in their work. Like everyone should put 100%, but sometimes the priorities are only work at one point. And that is fine. Like that person, if he or she is fine with it, then it's fine. But I think health, the mental health should definitely be the topmost priority in terms of the sustainability of your corporate and your working life. And if that is being affected, then you should set clear boundaries, right? And you should not be like doubtful about it, because ultimately that is what you will carry from your job or to your life, and not the Excels or PPT analysis which you are currently doing. And I think that's a great segue to my next question as well, because you mentioned that different people are working at different timelines, and then you also try to compare with them. So that brings a sense of what we commonly refer to as imposter syndrome, right? That probably we are not good enough. So, and this may happen like externally when we are dealing with the clients, or internally within the team as well. So, how would you address that, considering that these situations rise multiple times in multiple projects, and you have worked here for 5 years, right? So, how did you deal with such situations when they came?
But I think over the course of time, you really need to be confident about the ideas that you're bringing in. It might be that they're going to be shot down.
Hmm.
There might be a pushback from your internal team, from the client itself. Why not? You would also be, if somebody starts to question your your work quality, you will get defensive by that. So that's natural. The only thing is how to get past that chasm. You will realize that people are receptive to change as well as they really want to listen. And it's usually the top leadership. And a good way to cope up with this is find a good mentor within the organization early on in your career. That's I think is going to really take you a long way because they would be your staunch supporter at the same time your strongest critique.
Exactly. And that's really helpful.
Sometimes it becomes important to understand, even though you have been delivering consistently, you are ready, but the business might not be ready to absorb you,
Hmm.
or there's a level of politics that is playing role. Being denied, or maybe just extended your promotion, which should have happened 6 months or 1 year earlier, you start to have these thoughts, like you said, like should I move out? Should I? I would suggest just give a very detailed thought to everyone who's in that situation and who really needs to move out because it's better to stay in that because A, people know you, your brand is already developed, and it might happen faster in 6 months and you make a manager, then probably look out if you really want to move so that you at least have a good amount of tenure under as a higher level up. Then you're just switching just because you're not getting promoted.
That really helps. And I think that whenever we make a decision, it should be a prudent one and not an impulsive. And as you mentioned, you have to see the day 365 and rather than just day one. Right.
Rather than making under these under these constraints of like promotion, let them not be the reason for you to switch. You should definitely be in a good spot and assess that 10 year or 20 year down the line, where do I want to continue myself and see myself in in the consulting sphere? If
Mhm.
not, then you can start taking a call about it and look out for the option outside this industry.
Perfect. That's really helpful, Vinayak. And that also exhausts the questions which I had for the interview. Thank you so much for taking out your time and having such a candid conversation. I think the audience would really benefit, especially the young consultants who are thinking of going into this domain. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no worries, man. And I'm happy to be joining this one. I think it's a really great initiative. And thank you for being such a wonderful host.
Thank you so much.